The U.S. economy is the envy of the world. The labor market is historically strong. Now, we hear this almost every day from the White House and the Federal Reserve. No, that wasn't the slip of a tongue or a miscalculation. That was a curated narrative. Now, as we look at our grocery bills sitting on the counter or the empty businesses on our main streets, we have to realize something terrifying, that the map they gave us isn't matching the territory we're walking through. We don't have to predict the collapse. We just need to look out the window, because the numbers aren't just wrong. They are being forensically manipulated to hide the coming collapse. Welcome to Clear Signal. I'm David Tomsic. Now, to understand the economic chaos we're about to see here in America, you have to first understand that there were a lot of mistakes made by many administrations in the past. None greater than the ones Donald Trump is making right now. Also keep in mind, in the big picture, it doesn't matter who's sitting behind the Resolute desk. It's about the math. And right now, the math is screaming, the bridge is out. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what I believe are the three active fronts of this economic decay. Number one is the phantom job numbers, how the government is revising history quietly while celebrating growth loudly. Second, the debt wall, the point of no return where the interest payments consume the entire budget. And third, the bond market revolt, when the world stops buying our debt. Now keep in mind, this isn't a theory. These are the mechanisms of collapse that I believe are already in motion. So let's get started. Let's take a look at the first mechanism, the revision cycle. Now every month the Bureau of Labor Statistics come out and releases their job report. 200,000 jobs created. The markets rally, the politicians take a victory lap, but then a month later, quietly, often on a Friday afternoon, that number is revised downward. This is from the New York Times. In February 2026, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released as part of their annual benchmarking process significant revisions to employment data, indicating that job growth in 2025 was substantially lower than initially reported. For the year 2025, job gains were revised downward from 584,000 to only 181,000. Massive drop, creating a near zero growth for that year. This is telling us that under Donald Trump, the economy only created 15,000 jobs. This is disastrous for not only Trump, but for the entire U.S. economy. You see, the U.S. economy should be producing between 100 and 200,000 jobs per month. Trump's claim that in 2025 the U.S. economy was the greatest economy ever in the world is, let's face it, ridiculous. So let's fast forward to January of 2026. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the U.S. economy created 130,000 jobs. The estimate was 55,000 jobs. That's a pretty low estimate, right? Guess what's going to happen? In February, probably on a Friday, they'll revise those numbers downward. The collapse of the U.S. economy is happening right now. It's just hidden by bad information. They're reporting jobs that don't even exist. Now look at it this way. If a CEO reported massive profits in quarter one to boost his stock price, then quietly restated earnings as losses 6 weeks later, they would arrest him, or he would just be fired. That's what happens in the corporate world. But in Washington, D.C., this is just standard operating procedure. We are seeing downward revisions of hundreds of thousands of jobs. These aren't rounding errors. This is forensic manipulation. They are counting part-time gigs as full-time careers. They are using the outdated birth-death model, an algorithmic guess about how many businesses were created. They have no real idea. The reality here is that full-time jobs are vanishing. They are gone. What is replacing them is multiple part-time struggles. When one person loses a 40-hour job with benefits and has to take 3 12-hour gig jobs to survive, the government reports this as +2 jobs. Let that sink in for a minute. The headline says boom, the data shows bust. And the reality for the American people is nothing more than brutal austerity. The narrative has split completely. You feel it, I feel it. And no amount of statistical gaslighting can change the price of eggs or the anxiety of losing a job. That brings us to the second mechanism, the debt wall. Now, we've been warning you about the debt wall for over 2 years on this channel. What we said was when interest rates rose, the cost of servicing our national debt would become a mathematical impossibility. Well, we are there. Right now, the United States government is spending more on interest payments for our debt than we spend on our national defense. Think about that. We are spending more to pay off yesterday's credit card bills than we are on our entire military. That's a powder keg. When you have a debt to GDP ratio of over 120%, you have passed the event horizon. There is no growing your way out of this. The politicians will tell you they will cut waste. I got bad news for them. You can cut every penny of discretionary spending and you still wouldn't balance the budget. Now, before I continue, if you enjoy the content we provide you and think it's valuable, please consider subscribing to our channel. Also hit the like button, that really helps us out, and share the video with as many people as you can. And if you stay to the end, I have some bonus content, some commentary that I want to provide you as well. Thanks. Let's continue with the video. Now, the third mechanism I want to talk about is the flashpoint, the bond market. Now, for decades, the United States had a privilege no other empire had in history. We print paper, and the world would send us cars, oil, and electronics. We exported inflation, they exported goods. We need our allies to buy our treasuries. Without it, we're dead in the water. But look at the data. China is selling their treasuries. Japan is selling their treasuries. Many countries in Europe are now starting to sell their treasuries. The BRICS nations are building a lifeboat to get away from the dollar. Why? Because they can do the math too. They see instability. They are seeing the weaponization of the US dollar, and they are saying, no thanks. When the world stops buying the US debt, who buys it? Guess who buys it? The Federal Reserve. And where does the US Reserve get the money? Well, they print it. This is the definition of a currency collapse. It doesn't happen overnight, and then it happens all at once. We are standing on the precipice of a bond market sell-off that will make 2008 look like a picnic. If yields spike because nobody wants our paper, the housing market freezes. The banking system, which is loaded with these bonds, will face a liquidity crisis that will wipe out regional banks overnight. The three mechanisms we just discussed are no longer theoretical. They are the news of the day. And the bond vigilantes are just starting to wake up. And when they do, the Federal Reserve loses control. They will tell you the system is robust, but if you look at the bank term funding programs, the emergency liquidity measures, it's all duct tape on a cracked dam. So where do we go from here? I'm not sure. The structural damage is done, the debt is real, the jobs are just a mirage, and the world is turning away from the US dollar. What I can tell you is that the vendetta Donald Trump has against the rest of the world is hurting the U.S. economy, hurting American citizens. His war with Canada could have cost hundreds of thousands of jobs. It's still up in the air, and I give credit to both the House and the Senate for taking away his authority to tariff Canada. Where this will go, I don't know. The problem is the rest of the world is now joining with Canada, making new supply chains and agreements to trade goods between each other, eliminating the Americans altogether. Donald Trump doesn't understand economics. He doesn't understand trade. I've talked about this many times because he does not understand how it works. Did you know that many of the parts used to manufacture vehicles in Canada and the U.S. travel back and forth through the border between Canada and the United States 7 times? Imagine tariffing each one of those particular parts 7 times. Imagine the cost of a car, an automobile. They're already too expensive. But Donald Trump didn't understand this. His vendetta, his anger, trying to get a deal for the richest of the rich, hurt us, the middle class. Hurt us. And this isn't just the case with Canada. He has issues with Europe, with China, with everybody. But they're making deals on their own with each other. And again, they're bypassing the United States. As someone who worked in supply chain and sitting down at tables with customers from around the world, I can tell you this, that when there's a clog, there's a problem, there's a cost increase, those people negotiating at those tables around the world will find another way. The contracts will change, the supply chains will be adapted. The United States will only get hurt as we move forward because nobody trusts us. We're now the person they can't trust in the room. And this will add to all the issues we already have with the economy. The economy that Donald Trump heralded as the best in the world is falling apart right beneath him. He has no clue because he's so focused on his own success, making money for himself and his billionaire buddies, that he doesn't care what happens to the average worker in Detroit or in Ohio or Pennsylvania. So keep in mind, the economy isn't just about the numbers I talked about. It's greater than that. It's about how we're perceived in the world, how our relationships hold up, and can we be trusted? And the answer to that, probably in every boardroom in the world, is no. Thanks for watching. Please, if you like our content, you enjoy it, you want to see more, subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, share the video with as many of your friends and family as you can, hit the bell icon, you'll get notified when we release a new video. And remember this, love your neighbor as yourself. And I'm glad you watched. I'll see you next time right here on Clear Signal.